everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sammy. For those of you who are new, welcome. I'm a registered dietitian. I'm a personal trainer. I'm the owner of Strength by Sammy, which is a women's health coaching company. And I am a former bodybuilder who's now training for the HYROX competition. And while most of my videos so far have been all about like my HYROX training and changes from that typical bodybuilder hypertrophy style training to hybrid athlete, running, endurance, and performance, today I'm going to talk a little bit about how my food has changed because that's what you guys want to see, which makes total sense. Like I went from, shrinking myself and trying to be the leanest version of me to now fueling for performance, fueling for health. And I am going to share a little bit about why I'm eating the way I'm eating first before I get into what I'm eating. But I will share some of my staple meals. A lot of stuff hasn't really changed that much since I was eating foods I already liked as a bodybuilder. Obviously not as much sauces, not as much like added calories. Like I'll add avocado to most of my toast. I'm adding a lot more flavors, a lot more things I wouldn't have added otherwise. But first I kind of want to share like why I'm eating what I'm eating, because everyone's journey is different and there's a reason why I'm eating a little bit more. So right after my competition, I did do a small reverse diet for about 4 to 6 weeks. Now that is when you slowly increase your calories when you're in extreme calorie deficit to allow your body to adjust without having too much rebound weight come on. So I was eating maybe 1,100 calories a day at like the peak of competing and going into my last competition. And I can't go from 1,100 calories to 1,800 calories overnight. It can cause a lot of weight rebound very, very quickly. So putting on a lot of body fat very fast, and that is not something you want to do for health, for aesthetics. It's not great to just go from 0 to 100. Now I do initially do a small jump. So I think I went from like 1,100 to like 1,500. That's a pretty big jump right from the start. And then it's like a very gradual increase depending on how my body's responding. Now, as you guys know, I'm a natural athlete and that obviously does play a role as well. So I was going up maybe 50 calories a week, or if that. My coach was taking a very gradual approach, which helped rebound a lot of that typical weight gain you do see after a competition, because you never want to go from extreme restriction to complete gluttony and just eating everything in sight. Now I got to a point where obviously my hormone health was a priority, right? And I've talked about that from the beginning. I lost my cycle back in last spring, and I do care about my fertility. I do care about my overall health, because having a menstrual cycle is more than just wanting to have kids. It's about your bone health, your heart health, your hormonal health, your metabolic health. So that was a priority for me. So I knew I had to put on an okay amount of body fat. Like I don't need to be like 40% body fat, but I did need to be out of like those low teens. And so that I was going to get some weight gain. Now, I wasn't getting a ton of weight gain. I was maybe like 113, 114, and my stage weight was like 108. So I know in the past I've been metabolically healthy at about 117, 118, with about 17 to 18% body fat. That's where my body sits pretty well. I like the way I look. I like the way I feel. So I kind of just bumped my calories up. So I went from that 1,100 to maybe like 1,500. And then I personally just jumped myself up to 1,800. Like my coach didn't really want me to do that because he wanted to mitigate some of that weight regain. But then I ended up going a different direction anyways. As you guys know, I'm not currently competing in bodybuilding for the 2026 season. Who knows what the future will bring, but right now, no longer competing. So I didn't care as much about that weight rebound, that weight regain, as long as it was controlled, because I'm also getting married in April and I want to feel and look my best at my wedding. So jumped right up to 1,800. Now this was the holiday season. Like I did take a break. I haven't made a video in a few weeks because like I wanted to enjoy the holidays with family, friends, loved ones. So I took just a step back from filming. We'll be filming going forward because obviously now it's crunch time. I think we're going into maybe like 6 months out from my tentative HYROX competition. So what does food look like now? So the 1,800 calories, I'm ranging a lot. I am not as strict as I used to be. So while most competitors probably wouldn't have jumped their calories up that high, especially with a lot of them probably competing in the spring, I did for hormonal health. And I just like wanted more flexibility with my food. and I needed more calories going into my HYROX training. Like, those training days are very intense. Right now, if you guys watch my previous videos, I took the HYROX competition, I broke it up into 2 workouts. So I do a full half and a full half. These workouts are about 40 to 50 minutes. There is a lot of running, there's a lot of endurance. I'm doing the full women's pro level weights. Like, I'm doing a sled push of 325, I'm doing a sled pull of 230. Like, they are intense workouts, so I need calories to fuel those workouts. Now, I don't need 3,000 calories. A lot of people really go from one extreme to the next. And so that's where that 1,800 to 2,000, I would say, is where I'm averaging. Now that I got my cycle, I don't really feel like I need to continue to increase my calories. Like, my training is still very intense and my body weight has been stable at about 120. You know, fluctuating a little bit with like more meals out, the holidays, the sweets, but really sticking around like 120 to 118. And I'm happy there. And I like the way I look. I like the way I feel. My performance is really good. My strength is definitely up. I'm able to do, again, all of the women's pro level weights, except for the wall balls, but that's more of a neck endurance thing. And I'm close. I'm 2 pounds away from that. So 1,800 calories. I'm sitting there pretty well with some flexibility. Now, I'm gonna kind of walk you guys through like what my meals are looking like. I can't really say there's specific macros that I'm following. Like, the biggest thing I'm focusing on is hitting my protein, hitting my calories, and hitting my fiber. I play around a lot with fats and carbs. I have sufficient carbs to give me energy for my workouts, and I have sufficient fats to make sure I don't have essential fatty acid deficiency. Your body needs like a minimal amount of fat to just run for, again, hormonal health, overall health, for different metabolic processes in the body. So I'm kind of playing around with that. So today I kind of did out my macros. I'm probably gonna hit about 140 to 160 grams of protein. That tends to be where I'm ranging. My carbs, I would say, are almost always under 200, somewhere between maybe like 180 to 200. I do tend to do a little bit of a higher carb bump on a day I'm training endurance because I need it with all the running. I need it with all the calories I'm burning. I need it when I'm depleting my glycogen stores. When I'm training like bodybuilder style training or just general strength training for hypertrophy, I don't always do a pre-workout carb. I don't always need it. When I am doing lots of running, lots of endurance, lots of that hybrid style training, I do tend to do just like a rice cake with peanut butter. It's not anything crazy, it's not anything extravagant, but I do have a small increase in carbs right before my workout. And then I always have a high protein, high carb post-workout meal. Protein for recovery, carbs are gonna help with recovery, and then replenishing my glycogen stores. So we'll take you guys kind of through like what my day-to-day is looking like. Starting with breakfast, which is very similar to when I was a bodybuilder. We got egg white scramble, turkey bacon, English muffin. That's the biggest change. I added bread really back into my diet. And then I do a little bit of avocado, sometimes some goat cheese. That is a staple. I do it every single day. Another staple is either a yogurt bowl or a oatmeal bowl. Yogurt bowl is Greek yogurt, chia seeds, berries, sometimes a little bit of peanut butter, sometimes a little bit of dark chocolate chips. The difference with the oatmeal bowl is I'll do oatmeal and protein powder, but then the toppings are very, very similar. I try to space my meals out every 2 to 3 hours. I work from home now, so it's been a lot more difficult than I would have anticipated because the kitchen's like right there and I can just go eat whenever I want. And I've never had that type of food noise before, but we're working with it. And I find that having structured meal times helps mitigate a lot of that. Then my post-workout meal is going to typically be a vegetable, a protein, a carb. I keep it very simple. I'm super boring. Some fun things I've had are like taco bowls, pot roast, maybe like a panini or soup and a grilled cheese, but I always add protein to it. So those are some of my like midday meals. At night, it's super simple. I get home about 8 o'clock from training because I do still train in person. So I'm mostly remote, but I do train a little bit in person because I just love it. That's gonna be like my stir fry, which might be like mixed veggies, a half cup of white rice, 6 to 7 ounces of chicken. I just fried in a frying pan, maybe scramble up an egg. That's one of my staples. I'll also just do like pasta, sauce, veggies, meat. Very simple. I am doing a lot more meals out than I would have otherwise. So that's a big change, right? Like when you're competing, you are lucky if you do one meal out a week. And if you are, it's extremely restrictive. It's extremely trackable. You know, tomorrow we're probably going to go out and have pizzas. That's totally fun and totally fine. And I've been balancing maybe about 2 meals out a week pretty well, kind of just, I'll be honest, eating what I want. I do try to make sure that I'm eating a high protein, high fiber diet before, because again, overall health is still a priority to me. Like while I'm not training to be the leanest version of myself, I still want to make sure I'm healthy. I want to make sure I'm not just eating, you know, high fatty red meat 7 days a week. I'm ignoring my fiber intake. I want good digestion. I want clear skin. I want to feel good. I want to move good. And that's something that a lot of people don't think about with, I feel like, performance-based sports. They will do, you know, marathons or the HYROX or some kind of like performance that requires a lot more calories, and the calories they're getting are not good quality. So like they run, you know, a 10-mile run, they go have pizza, which I know I just said I had pizza, but I don't do it all the time. That's still an inflammatory food, so I definitely don't recommend it. Like you are not gonna perform your best if your body has a lot of chronic inflammation, which does come from the food we eat. Like if you're eating ultra processed, ultra greasy, foods with lots of added sugar, with lots of saturated fat, like you are not going to feel your best and you're not gonna perform your best. So I'm still eating a very whole food-based diet, very minimally processed, maybe 1 to 2 meals out a week, but nothing very extreme from there. I'm not a big sweet person. Over the holidays, I indulge in a few cookies and maybe like a slice of pie. That's a lot for me. I do not eat sweets on like a weekly basis. It's usually once a month, if that, and typically just special occasions. Other things I've implemented are I need to make sure my hydration is really good. That's something I really feel. If I'm not hydrated going into my HYROX training days, I am very like fatigued and I can just feel it. And if I try to catch up on my water right before my workout, it's very sloshy in my stomach and I don't like that. I've definitely incorporated more electrolytes, which I'm using almost every single workout that I'm getting a good sweat. I've also added in things like the sauna and my compression boots, but that's more with recovery. That's obviously not nutrition. I'm still taking my creatine. I still take my zinc, my vitamin D, my omega-3s. I did add a prenatal in for hormonal health, and just like covering my bases. I mean, we're not trying right now, but it doesn't hurt to take. The prenatal's pretty well balanced as far as like micronutrients and minerals go. So I like to take that as kind of like my multivitamin. But again, a very whole food diet. Like how close does the food look like to what it grew from or where it came from? Like, does it look like a potato or does it look like a potato chip? Like that will tell you how processed a lot of your food is. Obviously, it's not a rule of thumb for everything, but if you're just kind of starting out and you don't know a lot about nutrition, like the less processed it is, the better it's gonna be for you. The less additives, the less added sugar, the less added fats, and then just the healthier it is for your body, the easier it will be to digest and process. Do you want to touch on like how good I feel mentally as well as physically? It's been officially almost like a month and a half, maybe 2 months of training, like the HYROX style training versus that typical, you know, hypertrophy bodybuilder style training. And I feel really good. Like obviously my weight jumped up. I'm again very stable at the 120. I'm liking the way I look. I'm liking the way I feel. I don't necessarily want to be smaller than what I am, but I don't really want to be bigger. I just like maintaining where I'm at. This is the best I've ever felt physically. Like on New Year's Eve, we went skiing for the day and I was able to ski all day my first time. And if you guys ski, you know, like it's a lot on the legs to do that, you know, right on the first time, the first like run of the year. It's a lot, and we did like 3.5 hours of skiing, and I was able to hit a full HYROX training day right after with good recovery and feeling really well. Like I was not sore from my skiing and I was not sore from my HYROX day, and I was able to do it full out and hit like a new PR time. So the fact that I'm able to do all these endurance style exercises and just activities with just so much more ease, And it's going pretty well. All my ankle pain is gone, my hip pain is gone. The things I'm doing to focus on recovery and stretching and mobility and strengthening my ankles and my joints has helped tremendously through a lot of help of like clients and patients and friends who are PTs. So that's going really, really good. But yeah, so everyone's journey is going to be different when it comes to nutrition and when it comes to the HYROX. It's definitely going to be more of a fuel is food focus versus, you know, restriction and dieting, because again, you're not going to perform your best if you are under fueling. That does put you at risk for injury. It puts you at risk for poor performance. It puts you at risk for poor recovery. So that has been a huge game changer. Now, does 1,800 calories work for me? Will it work for you? Probably not. Our bodies are different, our metabolisms are different, our muscle mass is different. I am still tracking how much muscle I have. I haven't done an in-body in a while, so I'm going to do one probably in the next 2 weeks. And when I do my next check-in with you guys, I will definitely share where I'm at. I'm very curious to see like how my body responds to this style of training. Like, will I get any hypertrophy as a result? Although it's not my focus, like, will I still get some from changing my training modality, which does typically happen, at least in the beginning. But yeah, if you guys continue to have questions, please throw them in the comment section. I am happy to share them. I'm happy to share like stations, like if you guys want me to do a deeper dive into the station, what was hard for me, what worked for me, like I'm happy to share those tips too. Like, you know, with the wall balls, I went from being able to do like none of them and being in chronic pain to being 2 pounds away from the women's pro level weight and being able to do 100 reps completely pain-free. Like I did them last night. I have no shoulder pain, no neck pain. I'm actually not even sore from yesterday's workout, so I know my body is adapting and I'm feeling really, really good. If you guys don't already, please hit that subscribe button in the bottom right hand corner. Love that you guys want to continue to follow my journey and excited to create some different content going into the new year. Totally realized I did not address that it's a new year, but happy 2026. Maybe I'll do a little video on like what I'm trying to aim for going into this new year. Let me know what you guys want to see, and thanks again for tuning in.